Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Conquering Anxiety. We know that right now it's very challenging times, and we're here to help you understand how it's affecting all of us, anxiety, and how we're going to overcome anxiety. So Dr. Justine is more than welcome and encourages questions. There's lots of things that we might pique our interest, or we might have more questions about, and you can feel free to text her at 647-987-9355. So today, Dr. Justine and Dr. Udani will be presenting this anxiety talk with us. So Dr. Justine is the owner and operator and primary chiropractor of Justine Blaney Wellness Center, and she has a holistic team underneath her that supports and helps all of our patients. She really believes that everyone deserves a health team that focuses on prevention and optimal health and open communication. Dr. Udani is our naturopathic doctor here at Justine Blaney Wellness Center, and she has some incredible interests in women's health and digestive issues, as well as skin conditions and stress. Very important. She honestly believes and genuinely believes that everyone has the ability to make healthy and long-lasting changes. Please help me welcome Dr. Justine and Dr. Udani.
All right. Hi, everybody. I hope you've had a wonderful week. I just want to make sure you know about our upcoming events. We will be doing one on intermittent fasting. How do you do your OMAD? Has anybody heard of that? That's a new way of intermittent fasting. So we're going to talk about the do's, the don'ts, and how it can benefit you. We're going to learn a little bit about homeopathy. I know it's been a huge help for me with rashes when I was pregnant. Even my front desk helped with a big rash on her leg that she'd had almost for 10 years. Helps with things like eczema. And so she's going to learn about even how it helps with immune system. And I know I've used it several times throughout my lifetime and with my kids, massive, massive help. And then as we get into that Christmas time, have you ever hurt your back from wrapping presents? I know Christmas will be completely different, but we want to make sure that we're protecting you at this time. Also want you to know that we are planning the new year. We will be having talks ongoing in the new year. So exciting series coming your way on weight loss. It's going to be a 4-week series on weight loss, gut health, how to get rid of the COVID-10 or hopefully not the COVID-20. And so that is coming near you for the weight loss series in January. So stay tuned to get those new health goals and start it right in the new year. All right, anxiety, it's on the rise. I literally have patients just coming in shaking, so fearful. Everything's so tense everywhere. It is affecting millions and millions and millions of people, and not just North America, but worldwide. So that's why this topic is just so crucially important. I want you to know that there's lots of information with Dr. Jockers. Many of these slides will be coming from Dr. Jockers. And so please visit his website. You can get a lot of information there. So as we get into what is anxiety, many of us know what it is, but it's a fear or worry about something that's going to happen but hasn't happened yet. And I know my mom is like the queen of worrying. You know those people, right? Like it almost makes her sick to her stomach, can cause her to have a headache, can cause her to tense up, can cause her to shake, can cause her to be extra hungry, or some people just don't want to eat at all. And it can be a natural response. Anxiety or some worry can be natural. But unfortunately, as it progresses, that's when it can be truly detrimental and it can become more and more intense. And we are living in times where this anxiety it's just getting worse. We're not feeling like the end or the hope, or it's just feeling like everything is overwhelming. So that is the point of today's talk, in order to help you and friends. So please share this information that we have with you.
So it's like what Dr. Justine mentioned. Yeah, there's all these different symptoms of anxiety. And I know, I used to, and, especially during these times, it could be really It's actually anxious time, like Dr. Justine mentioned. So what are some general symptoms of anxiety? So you can have, that excessive heart rate, when you feel like it's jumping out of your chest. You can have sweaty palms. You can feel even tired, and you can almost even feel irritable at your loved ones or at your coworkers, trouble sleeping, those nights where you stay up thinking about work or family or things like that. So those are all symptoms of general anxiety. So these are some more common symptoms of anxiety include, like I said, the rapid breathing, you feel tense, you have really tight muscles, over worrying about different kinds of things. And it's a lot of you might even have nightmares, trouble concentrating. So these are some things to really keep an eye out, because these are common signs of anxiety. So how can you recognize anxiety in yourself and in others? So these are some of the previous symptoms I mentioned, just watching out for seeing, are you over worrying about certain things? Are you constantly thinking about something and it's really running over and over again in your head? Maybe during these times it could be a little bit more intense, right? Because we're all going through this pandemic and it could just feel overwhelming. So are you noticing your heart rate increasing? Are you noticing you're sweating a little bit more? Are you getting those digestive upsets, that loose stools? So those are all symptoms of anxiety. These are physical symptoms of a mental anxiety.
I noticed that people are forgetting their appointments, just forgetting things that they normally would have no challenge remembering.
Right.
And they're also just less patience with everybody, including their loved ones, the very people that they want to give their best to. Now they're giving their worst to because of their anxiety. So what some of these triggers, certainly our environment can make a difference, right? And when I say environment, I mean the emotional environment and the physical environment. And certainly with COVID, one of the things is just turn the TV off. Give yourself a mental break from that social media in order to make sure that your body has a chance to tune out. When they talk about a blackout of social media, this is one of the things that can certainly make a difference. But sugar balances make a difference. Looking at the brain gut reaction is a huge difference. Looking at how food affects us and the GABA imbalance, as Dr. Udani will cover more, these are areas that it's not just emotional. The chemicals, the physical chemicals, your physical environment can cause more anxiety. And we want to help you with that, both of those.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I completely agree, Dr. Justine, with what you mentioned about having a social media washout, because news is always going to be about something negative or something dramatic. And it definitely just drives those triggers in your brain saying, I need to watch out for the future. I need to be all ready. And that's definitely just driving your anxiety. So having that social media break, not watching news can be really good for you. Just going for a walk, just those things are so easy, but they are so effective. So like you mentioned about the blood sugar imbalance. So a lot of people with anxiety tends to have actually a lot of blood sugar imbalances. They tend to actually have more insulin in their body that's being secreted. So that tends to make them hypoglycemic. That means they have lower blood sugar. So they tend to the brains aren't getting that sugar. So they tend to be even more stressed. And so that stress increases your cortisol levels. And the cortisol in turn increases your adrenaline. So adrenaline is that, fight or flight neurotransmitters that kind of keep you going and makes you feel really anxious and stressed all the time. Something else that's important is the gut-brain axis. So this is something that I really talk to a lot to my patients, because the gut is like the little brain. So there's a huge communication between the brain and the gut, and because the gut provides all the nutrients for the brain, it creates the neurotransmitters. So these are like the little messengers. So if you know something called serotonin, which is like our feel-good neurotransmitter, that's produced in the gut. More than 70% of it is produced in the gut. So there's a huge connection here, huge communication. So that's why gut health can really improve your brain health.
I just want to add to that, Udani, so that to help you understand it, even when you were younger, if you had a test, you'd feel upset stomach, you'd feel the jitters. If you had a big game, a big sporting event, you could feel it in your stomach. You might feel upset stomach. Many athletes will or top speakers will throw up. before they go out to a specific exciting, even a good event can cause this brain gut reaction. And so we're seeing more and more irritable bowel, more and more digestive concerns, whether it's the diarrhea or it's the constipation or just upsetness, cramping, can all be related to the stress. And what I want everybody to be aware of, this is not just adults, folks. Kids as young as 4 or 5 years old are already feeling it. Even animals can feel the stress from their owners, right? And kids from their parents. So if we feel the stress, you know that your loved ones and the people around you, even the animals, can feel that stress and they can have this brain gut reaction as well. So we are seeing this in young teenagers, in young adults, and even in younger children, where they're starting to see these reactions of the brain gut, but they aren't able to communicate it as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And when you think about it, kids are like sponges, right? They just absorb whatever you see in the environment, all the stresses, and it's hard for them to process it, hard for them to communicate it. So these are some symptoms to really watch out to see if your child is experiencing anxiety, having those bowel, digestive concerns. So like we mentioned, the nervous system is really important in when you're thinking about anxiety, because all the healthy gut produces the healthy nerves and healthy ingredients for nerves. So if you have an abnormal function in the gut, you're going to end up having this abnormal nervous system function where you're getting more of those stress triggers pushed at the nervous system. So the nervous system is kind of going overdrive, trying to control this overworrying and things like that. So another thing that's really important is managing your glutamate and GABA. So Dr. Justine mentioned earlier, this is something that's important when you're trying to think about calming yourself down. So think of this as the gas pedal and the brake pedal. So glutamate is what's produced in our body when we're excited. So it excites everything. And that's like the gas pedal, it keeps you going. And GABA is what's really important when you want to relax, when you want to rest. So that is our brake pedal. So the gut microbiome, the bacteria in the gut, actually help convert some of the glutamate into GABA. So making sure that you're a little bit more on the relaxed side. So that's why, sometimes with my patients, I would recommend GABA, for example, if they have trouble with sleeping or trouble with relaxing. So it's really, it's cool and also important to realize there's all these different factors when it comes to playing with anxiety. And these are some 6 foods that can trigger anxiety and what to eat instead. So some of the 6 foods are obviously there are the pro-inflammatory foods. So what are those? Those are the high sugary, high processed foods, gluten and grains, a lot of artificial flavorings, too much caffeine. I think we've all had those days where we drank a little bit more caffeine and we just feel really jittery, really stressed, and we don't know what's happening. So these are some foods that can trigger that anxiety and the overworrying. So something to stay away from if you're especially having one of those really tough, stressful days.
So these artificial sugars are the evil. In fact, they know NutraSweet, aspartame. These are areas, the little blue packet, the little yellow packet, little pink packet when you go to a restaurant or you're, even at Tim Hortons. These are the ones that are extremely unhealthy. In fact, instead of making you lose weight, can help you gain weight because you tend to want sweeter things and they are completely toxic, increasing your aging process, increasing your anxiety and your stress in your body. So some of the foods that promote inflammation, that means that they're bad, all right? And they increase your anxiety. If you have increased inflammation, your body isn't functioning at 100%, then it's working on overdrive. That's like your car in neutral, but you've got your foot on the gas. It's going vroom, vroom, vroom. Your whole body is overwhelmed. And so similar products as those top 6 that you want to avoid, the gluten, increased bread products, going for the muffins, the Timmy donuts, bad choice. The sugars, yes, we get that sugar high, that sugar rush, the chocolate bar. It gives you that little bit of rush and then the crash. And so looking at any of the candies, the sweets, and I'm bringing this up because we're just dealing with Halloween, right? And then the chocolate and the goodies for Christmas, like all of these add up and they give you the little quick fix, but then they give you the crash. And when you have the crash, the anxiety goes up. So looking at healthy meats, that means farmed, free range, wild fish, looking to be careful of mercury toxicity, heavy metal toxicity. That's why we did our heavy metal detox talk. And this is one of the areas where a naturopath like Dr. Udani is going to customize your diet. You don't have to eat food you dislike. She can go around that. It's not going to, like, I don't like cold tomatoes. She's not going to force me to eat cold tomatoes. She'll find a way to customize that diet to you, to the things you love to eat. So it's still fun to eat. It's not depriving, but it's customized eating so that you're not increasing your anxiety, increasing your inflammation, getting rid of those processed meats. I know sausages are going to start coming out, and the processed meats for appetizers and that kind of thing. Got to stay away from hot dogs. They're just cancer sticks. They're completely unhealthy. So we want to also be careful of the poor oils, the poor fats, unhealthy fats, and anything that's artificial. And so we got to be so careful of those condiments, the things that we're just adding to our foods. Those ones can be completely toxic. And it's difficult, folks. Sometimes this picture looks so easy, but sometimes you don't even realize what you're adding. I don't eat gluten, and my husband made me, he's an awesome cook, but he made me something with soy sauce, and we didn't look at the ingredients, and it had gluten in it, and I was so sick to my stomach afterwards. So it just helped me realize how my body does not manage gluten properly. Even though I wasn't actually eating bread, it was soy sauce in that stir fry. It was healthy vegetables. It still made me feel sick. So reducing anxiety. Let's get to some helping hints. Dr. Udani, let's take it off from here.
All right. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm a little bit frozen, but this will be fine.
We can hear you. We can hear
perfect. So yes, I do agree about cutting down the sugars and all those things. It can be hard, and you just have to. There's balance, and it's about habits and starting it one day at a time. Me personally, I have such a sweet tooth, but now I've cut it down to a point where I just eat, one candy, and I'm good for the day. So how to reduce your anxiety? So we talked a little bit about this already. It's about having the anti-inflammatory healing diet, removing those food sensitivities, making sure your body isn't under that stress constantly, with that inflammation, improving your bowel movement, if you're flushing out those toxins, you're regular, having that fiber, having that magnesium daily, and of course, considering some supplements like GABA to help you relax. And these are all things that you should talk with a coach or a healthcare practitioner, because that will help you really tailor it down for your lifestyle.
How would you test for food sensitivities?
Right. So there is a really comprehensive test called the IgG food testing. So they test for, I believe, over 100 different foods. So it tests to see if you contain any immune reaction to all these foods. So IgG testing is great. You can even test specifically for gluten. So there's antibodies for gluten that you can test for. We can even do a stool test or parasite test to see, are you having a lot of undigested foods? So there's a lot of wide variety of tests to do.
Very cool. Also the amino acid tests. And these are things that are not typically done by your medical doctor. We're also adding to the Justine Blaney Wellness Center, Rodney, who does the SCIO technique. And many people haven't heard of the SCIO technique. That's SCIO. He also teaches Tai Chi. So he'll be joining us on Monday nights at the Justine Blaney Wellness Center and helps use a computerized technology to look at foods that you may or products that you may be intolerant to, not allergic to. So there's a variety of different testing beyond what I used to do was like the skin test where they prick your skin and test you, or under the tongue testing. I just want everybody to know that's the medical approach. But there are techniques beyond that with the naturopath and with Rodney, our natural healer. So just to investigate and make sure that you are aware that we do 5-minute, 10-minute free meet and greet to find out the right technique for you, the right testing, what you're missing, so that you can customize your approach to manage anxiety, because this is a big deal and it yes, it affects our heads, but it affects our gut health too. So very, very, very crucial that you take seriously that gut health, turn over those rocks and get the right testing done.
Mhm. That actually sounds amazing. I'll be interested in doing that test as well. Like, there's just so many out there. I think you're right, Dr. Justine. A lot of people don't realize that there's way more comprehensive, maybe more individualized testing that could be done for this. So, what are some top anti-inflammatory foods? So, this we've talked so much about this, but we want to keep talking because it's such an important message, an important topic, because we want you to go for these anti-inflammatory foods, even if you're just starting off, and even if you're just having the farm raised or the wild caught salmon or the grass-fed beef instead of your regular beef burger. That's huge. If you're switching your saturated oil, canola oil, into olive oil, these are like these simple things you can do to really help drive down that inflammation in your gut as well, so that all those good feel-good neurotransmitters, relaxing neurotransmitters can be produced. So going for those leafy greens, making sure you're having lots of spices or lots of herbs in your diet, having those really colorful fruits and vegetables instead of, your sugary, artificial flavoring rich foods. So this is really, we just want to drive it down to you saying that going for that anti-inflammatory foods is the way to go. So we talked a little bit about what is food sensitivities and how it's different from food allergies. So food allergies is, we know where you get that. Let's say you had an allergy with peanuts and you ate that and you just get that sudden reaction where, you can't breathe, you get the hives and you need those, the EpiPen. So that's called an anaphylactic shock. So that's because you have an allergy to foods, and you tend to usually develop an allergy since you're little. So as a child, you would get these allergies and they kind of stay with you for life. But, and these can be life-threatening. So this is why, it's important to make sure to really not try any of these foods that you have an allergy to. Whereas food sensitivities, a lot of people might, I'm a little bit frozen again, sorry about that. A lot of people might be getting these throughout any age. So that means food sensitivities for carbs or like gluten, for example, for dairy, for things like lots of sugar or corn. So these are sensitivities in the meaning that your body's a little bit inflamed and it's just irritated and you get that bloating, you might get the joint pain, IBS, eczema, and headaches. So these are not those sudden reactions, but they come throughout the time and through the day, and you just don't feel your best. So that's what a food sensitivity is compared to a food allergy.
I just want to thank you, Dr. Udani. Just add to this that they're saying this is 40 to 50% of society has food sensitivities.
Right.
Yet 40, 50% are not getting tested to find out what those sensitivities are. And the challenge is that they start to add up, and we don't realize that as they add up, they increase a stressor on the body, which increases your risk of anxiety, increases your overall stress on your whole system. So just kind of like, again, if you were a car, we use that analogy, you're just adding more and more sand or dust into the gas tank. And eventually that car at the beginning is still driving, but eventually it's just overworked and can't drive at all. And that can lead to a total collapse of the body, a total anxiety attack, if you will. So these anxiety attacks, sometimes they feel like they come out of the blue, but reality is it's been a building up process. And if you can take some of those layers away, you have fewer anxiety attacks and your body can manage it well. So that's one of the reasons why, as a chiropractor, one of the stresses I can deal with is the nervous system, helping remove those subluxations, those misalignments, so your brain can send messages through your nervous system to the rest of the body better. But a naturopath is going to look at all those other stressors on the body that are chemical, physical, emotional, so that you're really dealing with the whole person and all the things that can build up to add to anxiety, instead of thinking it's just one thing. It's one problem. Typically, it's a multitude of problems, and we have to make sure we're addressing all of them to get the best healing approach.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. It's all about a team effort, and it's all about just making sure you're all of those aspects are, taken care of. So what are some ways that we can reduce stress and prioritize sleep? So sleep, think of that as like the way you relax, right? It's the way for you to unwind, and it's really important to get that proper good 8 hours of sleep in the day. So anxiety is your body's natural response to stress, and lack of sleep can actually trigger anxiety because you have these anxious symptoms and these the overthinking thoughts, and when you're not having that sleep, it can make it even worse. So it's very important that you get a good quality sleep, because sleep can help with getting rid of that waste that you produce in the day. It helps your brain kind of renew, recharge. So that is why it can be so important to have those good 8 hours of sleep.
And just to add to that, some people, even though they know they should get 8 hours of sleep, they lay down and they don't sleep. So that's why it's important to talk to the naturopath. Maybe there are chemical imbalances, supplements that you might need customized for you, breathing exercises customized for you so that you can have not the right environment for a good quality sleep, but also the right chemical balance on the inside. And that requires sometimes some coaching along the way, and naturopaths can help you with that.
Thank you. And yes, exactly. And even with chiropractors as well, because a lot of times there could be a nervous system issue, right? Where you're misaligned, you have that chronic back pain or chronic joint pain, and that could really affect the quality of the sleep that you're getting too. So something that's really important is making sure your oxygen is, you have that great high oxygen amount in your body. So a lot of times when we're anxious, we don't really have those deep breaths. We have those shallow breaths. We breathe a lot more of those shallow breaths in the minute. And I sometimes catch myself as well, where I find it that I'm not breathing as deeply as I could be, and I'm just more stressed because of that. So optimal breathing is really around 6 to 8 breaths per minute. And these are those long, deep breaths that stimulate, rest, and heal. So this is really breaths that push down your diaphragm, those really nice stomach breaths where you get, because that can really help with relaxing you and also getting more oxygen into your body. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about the effects of stress on digestion. So this is, those symptoms where when you're stressed, you get that loose stools, or you feel those cramps in your stomach. You might even get those butterflies right before a presentation, for example. So these are all symptoms where, where you're a little bit stressed or you're going through a lot of stress, and then you get that effects in the digestion. And that's how you can really find out if you have a stress, like a gut and brain dysfunction, maybe, because then it's really important to talk to a healthcare professional to really get you feeling the best way.
All right. When we're talking about benefits and things to manage your stress, we talked about getting a good night's sleep, eating the right foods, and of course, we gotta move. We know that if you move, it helps us manage stress better. Especially if you can move outside, even better. Improves your circulation, improves your lymphatic drainage, improves that communication of those neurotransmitters. Helps you get that good serotonin to be happier, helps you think more clearly, helps your concentration. The body needs movement. So we do need to constantly, you can see that I'm standing here. We need to stand more often, get those standing desks, get your body a timer with your phone to get out walking and getting moving, especially if you're working from home. And then you finish a work day of work at home, and then you sit to eat, look at your Facebook, other types of social media, sit to watch TV. Next thing you know, it's easy to get to 8 to 10 hours of sitting. So really putting in a plan of action to keep our bodies moving is so important. We're going to get into breathing techniques. I got 3 main breathing techniques to share with you, but I know that, you got to try ones to find that are going to work for you, and then you may need more. So we'll have some upcoming talks on this, but also to get some coaching, I do recommend seeing Dr. Udani to go over some of this breathing, some of these meditation techniques. Also, Rodney, our natural healer, he does do the Tai Chi and breathing techniques as well. And many yoga instructors or yogi instructors can help you with different types of mouth breathing, nose breathing to improve. So the 4x4, this is when you breathe for 4. So you're breathing in, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, and then you hold for 4. And so doing it sitting is easier. Doing it in the car is a little harder. And then doing it walking is a little harder yet. So it's a 4x4, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And then you can do it over a 4 to 5 sequence in a row.
I was next, Dr. Justine, sorry. I know you can't really see me, but it's very relaxing to do those 4x4 breathing techniques.
Exactly. So the next one is a 4-7-8. All right. So you want to make sure you're comfortable. Maybe you're in your favorite chair. You can put your tongue towards the front of your mouth, and then you want to breathe in with your nose. And many people, we're just mouth breathers. And when we're anxiety, we just breathe from our scalings. And that's why the front of our neck and the neck gets so tight. We're not actually taking a full breath. So you can put your hands on your belly so you can feel that breath action. So you breathe in with your nose, all right, with your tongue towards the front of your mouth. And then you hold that breath for 7. And then you exhale slowly, and you can make that or a noise as you breathe out for 8. So again, breathe in, and you do that for 4. And then we hold for 7, and then or for 8. Give that a shot, try for a series of 3 to 4 times in a row. The next one is a controlled breathing, again through your nose. So you could do alternate nose breathing, but this one is breathing in through your nose and then out through your nose, and then you hold your nose for about 5 seconds, and then breathe normally for 10 seconds. So again, it's just getting control to use your nose for breath, especially those who snore or you're not getting a good night's sleep. Many times, again, it's that mouth breathing, and it's more like a panting breathing, not really a full breath. And as you work on breathing, then you'll be able to do it when you're walking, when you're moving, when you're exercising. You're going to be able to get that oxygen better to manage stress and anxiety better. We know that when people are having an anxiety attack, they start to breathe really, really fast. And so if they practice this breathing techniques when they're in a calm environment, then when they're walking, adding a little more stress to that environment, they'll be able to do them when they're in a very stressful environment more easily. So this is called nose breathing that can be very, very helpful. So lots of techniques for anxiety, the breathing exercises, the nutritional exercises, having the brain gut tested, having your food insensitivities tested, your metal toxicities tested, getting out and exercising, moving, getting outside, enjoying nature. Making sure you have chiropractic and adjustments for proper alignment, seeing the naturopath to learn about meditation, about mindfulness, and about how acupuncture can calm the body. I know so many compliments with Dr. Udani with her nice warm light as we're seeing more sad seasonal affective disorders. So they affecting anxiety even more along with anxiety because of the pandemic. So having that warm light, a healing light on you along with acupuncture can be so helpful. Massage therapy, just a time to tune out, fall asleep if you might, but having a relaxation massage, and also considering counseling, psychotherapy to manage some of the old stressors that just keep popping up that we maybe haven't really addressed in challenges from our past. So the point of this slide is that it's a team approach and it's multifaceted. You can't just do one thing. You can't just eat right and then not do anything else. Just like that car, you can't put good gas in it and not drive the car. You have to get that car driving, have it the proper alignment. So upcoming webinars, just a reminder, stay tuned, share with friends, intermittent fasting, helping to deal with fibromyalgia, learning how does homeopathy help with anxiety and stress, digestion and skin disorders. Learn about homeopathy with Dr. Udani, and then of course, how to protect your back coming into the Christmas season. Stay tuned and share with others. An amazing summit that's coming up. It is free. Look at here. You'll see the Anxiety Summit 6. You can go online. That's coming up in November. It is free. Share it with friends. Thank you for staying tuned with us. We are definitely going to try just to give and love and serve and give you as much information. Dr. Udani and I are doing this for free for you. And we just want to make sure we can help you, your families, wherever they live, all across Canada, all across the world. Share with others through Facebook, through YouTube, by email. Whatever way that's going to work, send us please a review, because that lets others know how this can help them and that they too should stay tuned in. So please do those reviews. That helps our center, helps others feel more comfortable, especially during these tough times, during these stressful times, anxiety times. They need to hear from you that this is great information, that the center is a safe place of healing. So definitely, we appreciate those reviews so much, by Google, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Please help us with those. And then stay tuned for our upcoming talks. We look forward to staying in touch and chatting with you soon.